My name is Jeff Olson, and I am a co-founder in Local Tower Farms, and we have a strategic partner, my partner, which is Veterans to Farmers, which is the nonprofit side. We have a for-profit side and nonprofit side, and Buck Adams is the founder of Veterans to Farmers. So Local Tower Farms our mission is really to redeploy local farms and scale local food growing with patented vertical growing systems and greenhouses. Our nonprofit, Veterans to Farmers, retrains veterans in closed environment agriculture, which is greenhouse growing, and they learn the techniques of vertical farming. And once they graduate, then they deploy out to our for-profit greenhouse farms.
Excellent. And where are you doing this?
So presently, the technology that was developed by a gentleman who ran the Land Pavilion at Epcot Center, he's got about 100 farms around the country, early adopter. We want to bring a franchise model to this. Presently, we've got 2 farms out in Colorado. Buck has over 400 graduates sitting on the bench waiting to go through the program. He's right now launching his national training center in downtown Denver, and that'll be about a 10,000 square foot greenhouse to basically be the training center, working farm for the greenhouses, growing food for urban Denver residents. And the 2 farms we have deployed right now, one in Lakewood and one in Commerce City, and shortly thereafter, hopefully by the end of the summer, we'll have 2 more farms in the Front Range.
Tell us about the technology.
The technology is called Aeroponics. Tower Garden is the trademark name, developed by Tim Blank, who ran the Land Pavilion, and he spun off out of Disney and started a company about 4 years ago. It's patented. It grows food vertically in towers at the 10th of the water, 10th of the space, with 10 times the yield. So pretty provocative and beyond. It's an evolution beyond hydroponics. So we're kind of a disruptive technology in the world of traditional status quo hydroponics. We take advantage of the vertical real estate and the ROI there. And so he wants to be the Intel inside of urban ag and scaling urban ag. And he's our partner, and he's very excited to help us franchise the concept and using his technology inside around the country.
Tell us the vision over the next 10 years.
Well, if you are interested in food and food production, it's sort of a poetic example of a lot of challenges in our country. It taps into sort of local economies and jobs. It taps into health, obviously. It taps into energy and energy usage. And what we've done as a country is scale an industrial version of food production that has an impact. And it's a double-edged razor blade, cuts both ways. Had a lot of successes, but a lot of challenges around the social impact, the environmental impact, the profit impact to people actually grow food. And so anyway, in the end, if you believe that local food production, if it could deliver an equivalent product, an equivalent price, with a high quality sort of taste, and deliver it on par with the industrial version, would you buy from a local grower? Would you buy from a local sort of veteran-owned, veteran-operated farm in your neighborhood? If you believe that, then that's our wheelhouse. Yeah, so the dark secret behind the Wizard of Oz behind the screen is most farmers in America are over age 65. We have 8 times more farmers that are over age 65 than under age 35. And if you look at the industrial ag model, it's really disenchanted really future generations to get into that business. And the disenchantment is, today's generation is urban, they're tech savvy, and how can you put food in an urban environment and use technology and make farming cool? And that's kind of where we are. But we have a huge job opportunity for the next generation, but we may have to think different because it's going to look different in terms of farming in the future.
Great. And so how many farmers will we need?
Yeah, we need 1 million in the next 10 years. 1 million farmers. We need to recruit 100,000 a year for the next 10 years at the rate that they're retiring. So pretty provocative. Not many people know that, and we're here to sort of be a contributor to that solution.
Excellent, excellent. How did you get into this?
Funny how life works. I didn't know a veteran. I grew up in Montana, so I was sort of surrounded by agriculture. I wanted to run away from it, which most rural kids do. But I am in the health food business, health food technology business, and our company purchased the retail division of the vertical growing systems. So we sell the vertical growing systems to residential owners. I've got 4 vertical towers on my back porch. I met a commercial grower and a veteran buck, my partner, last year at a TED conference, and we've been, and as I said in my presentation, the first time I walked into a commercial farm, I just envisioned these franchised and sort of Starbucks all over the country. And I fell into it through my health food technology background. I've been in that space for about a decade. Yeah.
What's the greatest challenge?
The greatest challenge is helping people catch up to the conversation. For one, the idea of growing food without any soil is a bit of a provocative statement. The roots are bathed in mineral water, so one's an education, but we're challenging the status quo. So I guess the greatest challenge at this point is to get enough sites out in the marketplace of ideas so that we can overcome the prove it. In terms of the franchise, the technology is tried and proven exists. What we're trying to bring together is the franchising, which really allows the scalability of local food production. So our greatest challenge is to get our pilot about half a dozen farms out in the next year or two, so we can prove it to the naysayers. Really, in the end, the naysayers what usually turns them over is when they taste the food. That's what did it for me. I saw the food, it was like Willy Wonka, Jetson food, but when I tasted it, the taste of the produce is like what you remember when you picked it from your garden or a local farm. Yeah. So about a year ago, Peter Diamandis gave a TED Talk called Abundance, and in his book Abundance, he referenced a lot of different global challenges. One of them was food. In food, he referenced a book written by a professor at Columbia, Dixon Despommier, called The Vertical Farm. And so as most of the world is urban now, how do you access either vertical structures or urban brownfield and land space and in a tight radius around an urban center, scale agriculture? And growing vertically has to be part of that solution. And in terms of feeding the world, if you look at most of agricultural crops in America, we grow food to feed animals. And most of the deep, dark, nutrient-dense produce that is really is the most healthiest food we can eat, is all imported in states. And so if you look at it at a state level, at a country level, whether you're a state, a city, or a country, they're all sort of grappling, how can we take control and have sovereign control on water, on energy, and on food? And we're in the wheelhouse of food. And as long as you're interested in local food production, we've got a story to tell. Yes. Yeah, so in terms of taking this out to less developed nations, we can go off the grid, we can have solar, we can go geothermal. Many of the southern climate hemispheres, they don't need a greenhouse. The capital costs of the systems themselves deliver a return on investment. We're sort of like solar, but we think we have better ROI in solar because food production, at a local level in agricultural communities, right now what's going on in the third world is most of this land is being converted to either raise cattle, or grow food for cattle. And so if you believe that greens and produce aren't going to go out of style anytime soon in terms of feeding 10 billion people, we're going to have to use technology to service that demand. So in 5 years, I think we will be a national brand with a national franchise concept. I think ultimately, dependent on the trajectory, we would like to be the Dole Foods of locally grown food, or the green, the Jolly Green Giant. They take it from seed to farm to freezer and then distribute. We would like to take it from tower to your table, grown in your neighborhood. So yeah, well, we can grow just about anything but root vegetables. So all kinds of leafy greens, kale and Swiss chards and broccolis and all kinds of lettuces, bib lettuces and romaines and arugulas, all herbs, cilantros and basils and we can grow flowers. We can grow vine crops, tomatoes and cucumbers. The technology is a multi-crop capacity and ability. I would say its sweet spot is high-value crops, leafy greens, and dark produce and herbs. But it can grow, as I said, vine crops as well. Well, I think in terms of what you guys are trying to do, I think just the creating awareness is number one. Once you sort of you buy a car and then you begin to see everyone else who has a car. Once you get into a food conversation and realize the challenges of growing food out into the future, you kind of intuitively understand local makes sense. And the question that I like to pose is, what would Steve Jobs do, if he was a farmer? He would think different. He would challenge the status quo. He would activate a design revolution in food. And when he saw his farms and tasted his food, kind of the thinking. We're some of the crazy ones, and we're trying to be the steward in that conversation. My name is Jeff Olson. I'm with Local Tower Farms. Our nonprofit partner is Veterans to Farmers, and we scale locally grown food in your neighborhood.